Introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, today, I want to take you on a journey to a prison unlike any other in the world, Aranjuez Prison in Spain. When we think of prisons, we often imagine cold, isolated cells, strict regulations, and a complete separation from society. However, Aranjuez challenges this perception by being the only prison in the world designed for families. Prisons around the world are traditionally built to isolate inmates from the outside world, enforcing strict discipline and punishment as a means of rehabilitation. However, Aranjuez Prison in Spain challenges this conventional approach by introducing a groundbreaking model that integrates family life into the prison experience. It is the only known facility in the world specifically designed to accommodate families, allowing incarcerated parents, both mothers and fathers, to live with their children within the prison premises. This model stems from the idea that prison sentences not only affect the individual who committed the crime, but also have a significant impact on their loved ones, especially children. Studies have shown that children of incarcerated parents often suffer from emotional distress, social stigma, and developmental challenges due to the absence of their parents. By creating a space where children can remain with their incarcerated parents during their formative years, Aranjuez aims to minimize these negative effects. Unlike traditional prisons that have cold, bleak, and often harsh environments, Aranjuez has been designed to resemble a residential community. Instead of isolated cells, the facility offers family-friendly units that look more like small apartments, complete with cribs, beds, and even toys to create a home-like atmosphere. This setting helps ensure that children do not grow up associating their earliest memories with a prison-like environment, but instead experience a nurturing and structured daily routine with their parents. The prison authorities have established special protocols to maintain a balance between security and family life. Inmates are still under surveillance and must abide by strict rules, but they are given more freedoms compared to those in standard prison systems. Daily schedules often include time for parenting activities, educational programs, and communal gatherings, all designed to reinforce the importance of family ties. By allowing children to stay with their incarcerated parents, the Spanish government hopes to create a system that does not completely disrupt the family structure. This model presents a rehabilitative approach to incarceration, where family support plays a crucial role in reintegration into society. The underlying belief is that strengthening family relationships during incarceration can reduce the likelihood of reoffending after release. Despite its innovative nature, the Aranjuez model remains a topic of debate. While some see it as a compassionate solution to a long-standing issue, others raise concerns about the psychological impact of exposing children to a controlled and restrictive environment, even if it is a less severe version of a traditional prison. Nonetheless, Aranjuez stands as a unique example of how prison reform can evolve to consider not just the individual offender, but also their families, ultimately challenging the way societies perceive crime, punishment, and rehabilitation. Aranjuez Prison is located in the historic town of Aranjuez, which lies approximately 40 kilometers south of Madrid, Spain's capital. This location is significant for multiple reasons, both from a logistical and a cultural perspective. Unlike many prisons that are built in remote, isolated areas far from major cities, Aranjuez is relatively close to Madrid, making it more accessible for families and legal representatives. This accessibility ensures that prisoners housed in the facility can maintain stronger connections with their relatives, as visiting the prison does not require long and expensive travel arrangements. The town of Aranjuez itself is known for its historical and cultural heritage. It is home to the famous Royal Palace of Aranjuez, which was once a spring residence for Spanish royalty, and the beautiful Jardins de Aranjuez, Gardens of Aranjuez, which are recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The town's architecture and scenic beauty create a stark contrast with the prison facility, reinforcing the idea that Aranjuez Prison is not a traditional correctional institution, but rather an experimental approach to rehabilitation. The prison's location was chosen strategically to serve its unique purpose. Being close to Madrid allows for easy coordination between the prison administration and governmental institutions involved in Spain's criminal justice and social welfare systems. Additionally, the proximity to a major urban center provides prisoners with better access to legal aid, social services, and rehabilitation programs, which can be essential for their reintegration into society after serving their sentences. Unlike many high-security prisons that are designed to be detached from urban life, Aranjuez Prison's placement near a historically rich and well-connected area allows it to operate within a broader social and economic framework. The local economy also benefits from the presence of the prison, as it provides employment opportunities to nearby residents, including prison staff, social workers, educators, and psychologists who assist in the rehabilitation of inmates. Another critical factor in the location choice is Spain's overall approach to penal reform. The country has been progressively focusing on rehabilitation rather than pure punishment, and placing Aranjuez Prison within reach of major institutions and resources supports this philosophy. The prison is part of a network of facilities that experiment with alternative incarceration methods, and its location enables close monitoring and analysis of its effectiveness. Being close to Madrid also means that international observers, researchers, and policymakers can visit the facility more conveniently to study its model and assess its impact. As a result, Aranjuez Prison has become a subject of interest in global discussions about criminal justice reform, prompting other countries to explore similar models. While the location of a prison may not seem like a crucial factor at first glance, in the case of Aranjuez, it plays a fundamental role in ensuring that the prison's objectives, family unity, rehabilitation, and reintegration, are effectively supported by its surrounding environment. One of the most remarkable aspects of Aranjuez Prison is its innovative approach to prison housing. Unlike traditional prison cells that are stark, confined, and designed primarily for security rather than comfort, Aranjuez offers specially designed family-oriented living spaces. These units, which more closely resemble small apartments than conventional prison cells, have been structured to provide a sense of normalcy for families, particularly for the young children living with their incarcerated parents. Each family unit in the prison is equipped with essential facilities that accommodate both adult inmates and their children. The rooms contain cribs, small beds, and child-friendly furniture to ensure that infants and toddlers have a comfortable living space. The walls are painted in bright and welcoming colors, breaking away from the usual dull and lifeless tones found in standard prison facilities. This visual difference is intentional. It aims to create an environment where children do not immediately associate their home with the distressing reality of incarceration. Additionally, each unit includes toys, books, and learning materials to support the early development of children. Play areas are integrated into these family spaces, allowing children to engage in normal childhood activities like playing with stuffed animals, drawing, and even participating in small educational programs. Unlike the usual rigid, metallic, and highly controlled atmosphere of most prisons, these family units attempt to simulate an environment where children can experience a more typical and nurturing upbringing, even if they are within prison walls. Beyond the individual units, the prison complex itself includes family-oriented amenities. There are shared communal spaces where parents and children can interact with other families, helping the children develop social skills and a sense of community rather than feeling isolated. A small playground exists within the prison grounds, where children can play outdoors in a secure environment. This feature is crucial because research suggests that early childhood development is significantly influenced by opportunities for outdoor play and interaction. Security, however, is still a priority. While the prison allows families to live together, the facility maintains strict rules regarding behavior and movement within the compound. The family units are part of a larger prison structure, and inmates are still required to follow prison regulations. Regular inspections and monitoring ensure that the family units remain safe for both the incarcerated parents and their children. While the children are not subject to the same strict regulations as the inmates, their daily lives are still structured and supervised by prison staff to ensure their well-being. The concept of family-oriented prison housing is based on the belief that maintaining strong parental bonds during incarceration can lead to better emotional stability for both the child and the parent. Studies have shown that prisoners who maintain healthy relationships with their families are less likely to reoffend after release. By allowing parents to continue playing an active role in their children's upbringing, Aranjuez hopes to reduce the emotional trauma that often results from parental incarceration. This family-focused approach challenges traditional penal philosophies, which often prioritize isolation and punishment over rehabilitation and reintegration. While some critics argue that children should not be raised in a prison environment under any circumstances, supporters of this model believe that it is far better for a child to live with their parent in a controlled and nurturing space than to experience separation and instability outside. The primary goal of Aranjuez Prison is to prevent the emotional and psychological harm that often affects children when their parents are incarcerated. In most conventional prison systems, a parent's sentence results in an immediate separation from their child, creating long-term consequences that extend far beyond the prison walls. Aranjuez challenges this approach by recognizing that imprisonment affects not just the inmate, but their entire family, especially young children who are suddenly deprived of parental care and emotional support. For a child, losing access to a parent due to incarceration can be deeply traumatic. The absence of a parent disrupts the child's sense of security, leading to increased risks of anxiety, depression, and emotional instability. Many children with incarcerated parents struggle with behavioral issues, academic difficulties, and social stigma, often feeling isolated from their peers. The sudden absence of a parental figure can also lead to attachment disorders, where children find it difficult to form trusting relationships later in life. By allowing young children to stay with their incarcerated parents, Aranjuez Prison aims to minimize these emotional and psychological damages. The idea behind this unique prison model is that children should not suffer for the crimes of their parents. Instead of forcing them into a life of instability, either in foster care or with distant relatives, this approach ensures that they can continue receiving love, care, and attention from their parents during the critical early years of their development. In traditional prison systems, family visits are often limited to short and supervised interactions, with strict restrictions that prevent any meaningful parental bonding. For infants and toddlers, this limited contact can be especially harmful, as they require daily interaction, physical affection, and emotional reassurance from their parents. At Aranjuez, however, children can wake up, eat meals, and spend time with their parents every day, creating an environment that resembles a normal family routine rather than the cold, isolated experience of a standard prison visit. From a psychological standpoint, children who grow up without a strong parental presence are statistically more likely to struggle with emotional regulation, engage in delinquent behavior, or even end up in the criminal justice system themselves. The Aranjuez model is built on the belief that keeping families together during incarceration can help break the cycle of crime by fostering stronger family bonds and emotional stability. If children feel supported and nurtured rather than abandoned, they have a better chance of growing into emotionally healthy adults. For incarcerated parents, this model serves as a powerful incentive for rehabilitation. Knowing that they are responsible for their child's well-being while in prison gives them a sense of purpose and a reason to improve their behavior. Many prisoners who participate in this program express a stronger commitment to self-improvement, education, and reintegration into society, as they want to provide a better future for their children upon release. In a broader sense, Aranjuez Prison is not just about allowing parents and children to stay together. It is about redefining the purpose of incarceration itself. Instead of focusing solely on punishment, this approach integrates family preservation, psychological support, and rehabilitation into the correctional process, offering a more humane and socially responsible alternative to traditional imprisonment. One of the most defining aspects of Aranjuez Prison's family-oriented model is the age restriction placed on children living within the facility. While the prison allows incarcerated parents to live with their young children, this privilege is only granted until the child reaches the age of 3 years old. After that, the child must leave the prison environment and be placed in the care of other relatives or, in cases where no suitable family members are available, under the supervision of social services. This rule is in place to strike a delicate balance between preserving family bonds and ensuring that children do not grow up in a prison environment for too long. The first 3 years of a child's life are crucial for emotional, cognitive, and social development. During this period, children form their primary attachment bonds with their caregivers, which play a significant role in shaping their emotional well-being. Research in child psychology has consistently shown that secure parental attachment during early childhood leads to better emotional regulation, self-confidence, and social skills later in life. The Aranjuez model recognizes this by allowing infants and toddlers to experience daily interaction, physical affection, and nurturing care from their incarcerated parent, rather than being suddenly separated at birth. However, while maintaining this parental bond is beneficial in the early years, the Spanish government and child welfare experts have determined that prolonged exposure to a prison setting could be harmful to a child's long-term development. As children grow older, they begin to understand their surroundings more deeply. If a child were to remain inside a prison beyond the age of 3, they could start perceiving the prison environment as their normal reality, which could lead to confusion, emotional distress, or even normalization of incarceration. The decision to set the limit at 3 years is based on developmental studies that suggest that children at this age can adapt more easily to new environments, especially when placed with relatives or in external care. When a child reaches the age limit, prison authorities coordinate with family members or child welfare agencies to ensure a smooth transition. Ideally, the child is placed with a close relative, such as a grandparent, aunt, or uncle, who can provide a stable home environment and continue the child's emotional and psychological development outside of prison. In cases where no suitable relatives are available, the child may be placed into Spain's social services system, which works to provide foster care or alternative guardianship. This transition is not always easy for the incarcerated parent, who must now adjust to living without their child while still serving their sentence. To mitigate the emotional strain of this separation, Aranjuez Prison allows regular visits and extended interaction times between the child and the parent, even after the child has left the prison. This ensures that the parental bond is not completely severed, but rather maintained in a structured manner. The goal is to ensure that the child continues to feel connected to their parent without being raised in a prison environment long-term. While the 3-year age limit is an essential aspect of this model, it remains a topic of ethical debate. Some argue that children should never be placed in a prison setting, even with family-oriented cells, while others believe that 3 years may not be enough time for a child to develop a strong emotional connection with their parent before separation. Nonetheless, this policy reflects an attempt to balance child welfare with parental rights, ensuring that young children experience early bonding with their parents without being exposed to the long-term effects of incarceration. One of the most striking differences between Aranjuez Prison and conventional correctional facilities is its deliberate effort to create a less intimidating environment. Unlike traditional prisons, which are often characterized by gray concrete walls, harsh metal bars, and a rigidly controlled atmosphere, Aranjuez has been designed to look and feel more like a residential community than a penal institution. The goal is to reduce the psychological impact of incarceration on both the prisoners and their children while fostering an environment that encourages rehabilitation rather than punishment. A significant part of this design philosophy is the use of murals and colorful decorations throughout the facility. Instead of cold, sterile walls that reinforce a sense of confinement, the prison features vibrant paintings, playful designs, and child-friendly imagery to make the surroundings feel more welcoming. The interiors of the family cells are painted in soft, warm colors, helping to create a calm and nurturing atmosphere for the children. These small details help to ensure that young children do not associate their home environment with fear, distress, or emotional detachment. Another key feature that sets Aranjuez apart is the presence of designated play areas within the prison compound. In traditional prisons, Children are only allowed to visit their incarcerated parents in visiting rooms, which are often stark and impersonal, with strict time limitations and little room for natural interaction. However, at Aranjuez, children living with their parents have access to playgrounds equipped with slides, swings, and toys, allowing them to engage in normal childhood activities despite their unusual living situation. These spaces are crucial in promoting physical activity, social interaction, and mental stimulation, which are all essential for a child's early development. Beyond the individual family units, the prison also has common areas that resemble small neighborhood courtyards rather than prison yards. These areas allow families to interact with one another, helping to create a small but supportive community of inmates who share similar experiences. Unlike conventional prison settings where isolation is common, this social structure helps reduce feelings of loneliness and despair that are often experienced by inmates. Another critical aspect of Aranjuez's environment is its focus on maintaining a structured but family-friendly routine. In a typical prison, daily life is dictated by rigid schedules, security checks, and highly restricted movement. However, at Aranjuez, the daily routine is designed to accommodate the needs of both parents and children. Parents are encouraged to engage in parenting activities such as feeding, bathing, and playing with their children, while also participating in rehabilitation programs, including educational courses, vocational training, and counseling sessions. This balance between parental responsibility and self-improvement helps inmates prepare for reintegration into society while still fulfilling their role as parents. Security remains a priority, but it is implemented in a way that does not create a sense of fear or oppression. Unlike maximum security prisons, where constant surveillance and heavy restrictions dominate the environment, Aranjuez employs a softer approach to prison security. The guards and prison staff are specially trained to handle the unique dynamics of a family-oriented prison, ensuring that rules are enforced without creating a hostile atmosphere. The goal is to maintain order while preserving a sense of dignity and normalcy for the families living within the facility. The unique environment of Aranjuez Prison challenges traditional notions of incarceration by proving that a prison does not have to be a place of complete isolation and punishment. By prioritizing family unity, psychological well-being, and rehabilitation, the prison seeks to redefine the purpose of correctional facilities, demonstrating that a more humane and constructive approach can lead to better long-term outcomes for both inmates and their families. One of the most unique and defining aspects of Aranjuez Prison is that incarcerated parents are given the responsibility of actively caring for their children. Unlike conventional prisons, where inmates have little to no interaction with family members outside of designated visitation hours, Aranjuez allows prisoners who qualify for the Family Unit program to take on the full responsibilities of parenthood while serving their sentence. This means that parents are directly involved in their children's daily routines, emotional development, and overall well-being, providing a sense of normalcy in an otherwise restrictive environment. A major part of this parenting responsibility involves feeding and meal preparation. In traditional prisons, meals are provided on a strict schedule, and inmates have no role in cooking or choosing their food. However, in the family units at Aranjuez, parents play a more active role in ensuring that their children receive proper nutrition. While meals are still regulated by the prison system, parents are responsible for feeding their children, making sure they eat properly, and adapting to their dietary needs. This interaction mimics everyday life outside of prison, reinforcing the bond between parent and child while also instilling a sense of duty and care in the incarcerated parent. Another key aspect of this parental role is bathing and hygiene maintenance. Parents are responsible for ensuring that their children stay clean and healthy, just as they would in a normal household. This includes bathing their children, dressing them in clean clothes, brushing their hair, and teaching them basic hygiene habits. For inmates who may not have had a stable upbringing themselves, this experience serves as an important learning opportunity, teaching them how to properly care for another human being and develop a deeper emotional connection with their child. Bedtime routines are also an essential part of the daily structure at Aranjuez. Instead of the typical prison experience, where inmates are confined to their cells at night without family interaction, parents at Aranjuez put their children to bed, tell them bedtime stories, and provide the comfort and security that children need before sleeping. This nightly routine is crucial for young children, as it helps establish a sense of safety and stability, reducing anxiety and emotional distress. For incarcerated parents, these moments allow them to bond with their children in a way that would otherwise be impossible in a standard prison setting. Beyond the basic daily care responsibilities, parents are also encouraged to engage in their children's emotional and intellectual development. This includes reading to them, playing with them, teaching them basic skills, and providing emotional support. In many cases, these incarcerated parents may not have had strong parental figures themselves growing up, and this experience allows them to break the cycle of neglect or abandonment that may have contributed to their own criminal behavior. By actively participating in their children's upbringing, inmates develop a deeper understanding of the responsibilities of parenthood, which can be a powerful motivator for rehabilitation. While this level of parental involvement is beneficial, it also comes with challenges. Inmates must learn to balance their responsibilities as parents with the realities of prison life, including following institutional rules, attending rehabilitation programs, and interacting with prison staff. They are held accountable for their parenting responsibilities, and any failure to properly care for their child can result in the privilege being revoked. The prison staff closely monitors family units to ensure that the children are receiving proper care and that parents are fulfilling their duties responsibly. The parenting responsibility given to inmates at Aranjuez serves a dual purpose. It ensures that children receive the care and attention they need, while also teaching incarcerated parents valuable life skills that they can carry with them after their release. Many of these individuals may have struggled with unstable family dynamics before their incarceration, and this opportunity allows them to develop into more responsible, caring, and emotionally aware individuals. By making parenting a core part of the prison experience, Aranjuez is not just reforming inmates. It is helping to create stronger families and prevent future cycles of crime and incarceration. Aranjuez Prison is built on the philosophy that incarceration should not just be about punishment. It should also be about rehabilitation and reintegration into society. The goal is to ensure that inmates, particularly those who are parents, do not leave prison as the same individuals who entered it. Instead of merely serving their time, inmates are given the opportunity to develop essential life skills, improve their mental well-being, and prepare for a future outside prison walls. This focus on rehabilitation is what makes Aranjuez stand out from traditional prisons, which often emphasize confinement and discipline over personal growth. One of the most important aspects of this rehabilitation approach is parenting education. Many incarcerated parents at Aranjuez may not have had stable family lives before prison. Some might have grown up in broken homes, faced childhood trauma, or lacked positive role models in their own upbringing. To help break this cycle, the prison offers parenting classes that teach fundamental child-rearing skills, including how to provide emotional support, how to discipline children in a healthy way, and how to foster a positive parent-child relationship. These classes help inmates understand their role as caregivers and encourage them to build stronger bonds with their children. Another essential part of the rehabilitation process is counseling and psychological support. Many of the inmates in Aranjuez have histories of substance abuse, violence, or emotional instability, which can impact their ability to parent effectively. Through individual and group counseling sessions, inmates are given the opportunity to address their past traumas, confront their mistakes, and develop healthier ways of coping with stress and emotions. These therapy sessions also help inmates develop empathy, self-awareness, and emotional regulation, which are essential for both personal growth and effective parenting. In addition to emotional and psychological support, Aranjuez Prison places a strong emphasis on vocational training and education. One of the biggest challenges for former inmates is finding stable employment after release, as many struggle with a lack of job skills, limited education, or the stigma of a criminal record. To help address this issue, Aranjuez offers a variety of vocational programs that teach practical skills such as carpentry, culinary arts, sewing, and other trades. These skills not only help inmates become more employable, but also provide them with a sense of purpose and self-worth. Education is also a key component of rehabilitation at Aranjuez. Inmates have access to literacy programs, secondary education courses, and even higher education opportunities, depending on their level of education. Many prisoners enter the system with low levels of formal education, which limits their opportunities after release. By providing access to learning, Aranjuez ensures that inmates have the chance to improve themselves intellectually, making it easier for them to reintegrate into society and become productive members of their communities. Beyond these formal programs, the daily structure of the prison itself is designed to promote rehabilitation. Instead of the harsh, isolating routines found in conventional prisons, Aranjuez encourages inmates to engage in meaningful activities throughout the day. Parents are responsible for their children's care, but they also participate in classes, training programs, and counseling sessions. This structured but supportive environment helps reduce recidivism rates, as inmates leave prison with more skills, knowledge, and emotional stability than they had before incarceration. By shifting the focus from punishment to rehabilitation, Aranjuez challenges traditional prison models that often fail to prepare inmates for life after release. Instead of treating prisoners as irredeemable criminals, this system recognizes them as human beings who have made mistakes but are capable of change. This approach not only benefits the inmates themselves, but also has a positive impact on their children, families, and society as a whole. The Aranjuez Prison Family Unit program is not open to all inmates. Strict eligibility criteria are in place to ensure that only certain individuals, those who meet specific legal and behavioral requirements, are allowed to live with their children within the facility. These criteria are designed to protect the well-being of the children, maintain order within the prison, and ensure that the program fulfills its intended purpose of rehabilitation rather than being misused by individuals who may pose a risk. One of the primary eligibility requirements is that only non-violent offenders are allowed to participate in the Family Unit program. Inmates convicted of serious violent crimes, including murder, assault, sexual offenses, or domestic abuse, are automatically disqualified from living in the family units. This restriction exists because the safety and psychological well-being of the children are the highest priority. Authorities ensure that no child is placed in an environment where they could be exposed to dangerous behavior, emotional trauma, or potentially abusive situations. Additionally, only prisoners serving short to medium-length sentences are considered for the program. Typically, those with sentences of a few years or less are eligible, while inmates with long-term or life sentences are generally excluded. This rule is in place because the purpose of the Family Unit program is to allow children to maintain a bond with their parents during early childhood, but without the expectation that they will grow up within a prison environment indefinitely. If a parent is serving a lengthy sentence, the eventual separation from the child would become even more disruptive and emotionally damaging, making it less practical for them to participate in the program. Another major factor in determining eligibility is good behavior and a willingness to rehabilitate. Not all nonviolent offenders automatically qualify. They must also demonstrate a commitment to following prison rules, participating in rehabilitation programs, and maintaining a positive and respectful attitude. Inmates with a history of disciplinary issues, repeated offenses, or gang affiliations may be denied access to the program, as their presence could create an unsafe or unstable environment for the children and other families within the facility. The screening process for eligibility is rigorous and involves multiple levels of evaluation. Prison authorities, psychologists, and social workers assess each inmate's background, behavior, mental health, and ability to provide proper care for a child. Factors such as the inmate's previous parenting history, emotional stability, and relationship with the child's other parent or relatives outside of prison are also taken into account. This multidisciplinary approach ensures that only those who are truly fit to participate in the program are granted the opportunity. In some cases, an inmate who initially qualifies for the program can lose their eligibility if they fail to meet the necessary behavioral standards. If a parent engages in violent behavior, drug use, or fails to properly care for their child, they may be removed from the family unit and transferred to a standard prison cell. This system ensures that the well-being of the child is always the top priority and that only those who are actively working toward rehabilitation can continue to benefit from the program. While these restrictions mean that not all incarcerated parents can participate, they help to maintain a safe, nurturing, and structured environment within Aranjuez Prison. The Family Unit program is designed not just to keep parents and children together, but to create a positive, stable atmosphere that fosters rehabilitation, personal growth, and emotional well-being for both the inmate and the child. By carefully selecting who is allowed to participate, the prison ensures that this innovative approach to incarceration remains effective, humane, and beneficial to all involved. The Family Unit program at Aranjuez Prison has had a profound impact on both the inmates and their children, shaping their emotional, psychological, and social well-being in ways that traditional prison systems fail to do. By allowing incarcerated parents to live with their young children, the program helps preserve family bonds, reduces the negative effects of imprisonment on both parents and children, and lowers the chances of reoffending once inmates are released. One of the most significant benefits of this program is its ability to prevent total parental separation. In conventional prison systems, incarcerated parents are often separated from their children for months or even years, leading to severe emotional distress for both parties. Children who grow up without a parent due to imprisonment often experience psychological issues such as anxiety, depression, and feelings of abandonment, while incarcerated parents suffer from guilt, loneliness, and a diminished sense of purpose. By allowing parents to maintain close contact with their children during their sentence, Aranjuez Prison helps reduce the trauma of separation, ensuring that these critical early childhood years are not spent apart. Maintaining strong family bonds during incarceration also greatly reduces recidivism rates among inmates. Studies have shown that prisoners who maintain close ties with their families are less likely to commit crimes again after their release. The emotional connection and sense of responsibility that come with raising a child motivate many parents to change their behavior, seek rehabilitation, and work toward a better future. Unlike traditional prisons, which often isolate inmates and reinforce criminal behaviors, Aranjuez encourages a family-oriented mindset, fostering a stronger sense of accountability and self-improvement. For the children involved, the impact of this program is equally profound. Growing up in a prison environment is not ideal, but Aranjuez's unique design and structure minimize the negative effects. The homely atmosphere, decorated walls, and presence of play areas ensure that children do not experience the harsh realities of incarceration, shielding them from the psychological damage associated with typical prison visits. Unlike traditional settings where children see their parents behind bars or through glass partitions, the Aranjuez model allows for normal parental interactions, such as bedtime stories, playtime, and shared meals, giving children a sense of security and normalcy despite the circumstances. Beyond the immediate emotional benefits, the program also helps break the cycle of crime and incarceration that often affects families. Many inmates in Aranjuez come from backgrounds of poverty, crime, or unstable family situations, and their children could be at risk of following similar paths if left without proper parental guidance. By keeping families together and encouraging positive parenting, the program helps to instill better values, emotional stability, and a stronger sense of belonging in children, reducing their chances of becoming involved in criminal activities later in life. Additionally, this system allows incarcerated parents to develop parenting skills and emotional intelligence that they may not have possessed before their imprisonment. Many inmates, especially those who became parents at a young age or who grew up in difficult circumstances, may have never learned how to properly care for a child, provide emotional support, or build a healthy family dynamic. Through the program's parenting classes, counseling, and real-life experience of caring for their children daily, Inmates learn essential skills that will help them become better parents even after their release. The program also fosters a stronger sense of community among inmates. Instead of the hostile and often dangerous environment found in many prisons, Aranjuez creates a more cooperative and family-oriented atmosphere, where parents share similar experiences and struggles. This reduces violence, aggression, and negative influences within the prison, as inmates have a common goal: to care for their children and work toward a better future. From a broader societal perspective, programs like Aranjuez's family units challenge traditional approaches to incarceration. By prioritizing rehabilitation, family connections, and emotional support, this model suggests that prisons do not have to be places of total isolation and punishment. Instead, they can be transformative spaces where individuals can reform, heal, and reintegrate into society as better individuals. Aranjuez Prison's Family Unit program is a groundbreaking approach to incarceration, proving that prisons can be places of rehabilitation, growth, and second chances, rather than just punishment. By allowing parents to remain with their children, the system preserves family bonds, reduces the trauma of separation, and encourages inmates to take responsibility for their actions. The emphasis on parenting, counseling, and vocational training not only benefits the inmates, but also ensures that their children grow up in a more stable and nurturing environment, even within the confines of a prison. This unique model challenges the traditional view of imprisonment and highlights the importance of treating inmates as human beings who are capable of change. By focusing on family, education, and emotional support, Aranjuez is not just helping prisoners. It is helping to break cycles of crime, prevent future incarceration, and create stronger, more responsible individuals. While no prison system is perfect, the success of Aranjuez's family units suggests that a more compassionate and rehabilitative approach to justice can lead to lasting, positive change for both inmates and society as a whole.